Hello and welcome back to day 13 of the 30-day Leadership Visibility Challenge. Today I want to discuss a natural extension of what we talked about on day 10, that there will always be too much to do, and also from day 7 when we talked about making time for strategy. Today we're talking about making time for deep work. If you've ever worked on strategy, you'll probably realize it takes a particular type of thinking and immersion in the subject to go do the things that you want to. It's hard to do that if you're in reactive mode and only have 10-minute chunks here and there for work between meetings and emails. But when you get in the zone, you'll have found yourself in this wonderful place, which is why I call it the zone, that is colloquially called deep work. But here's the disturbing thing. Most employees in the corporate world don't know what deep work is. The last time when the majority of us entered true deep work mode was when we were studying for exams. So what is deep work and why am I going on about it? Why is it important? And if it's so important, how can you make more time for deep work and enter into this all-important productivity, deep thinking, inspirational mindset state? Well, let's dig in. So first off, what is deep work? Quite simply, it's a state of distraction-free concentration that with practice provides unparalleled performance for high cognitive tasks. And as a leader, particularly a leader aiming for the executive level, if that's where you want to go, that is basically going to be your job description. Your job is to solve hard problems, not technical problems that a good Google, a good degree, and a whiteboard session can solve, but the sort of problems that take a business from striving to thriving, from startup to unicorn. Yes, we should be aiming for such statuses, even though they are unusual by definition. The concept was first named deep work by the author Cal Newport. He's a computer science professor at Georgetown, and the book Deep Work, a quick read that I highly recommend. In fact, I have it on my desk behind me. In that book, Newport defines deep work as the professional activity performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that pushes your cognitive abilities to their limit. These efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate. Okay, great. So what does that even mean? Well, let's talk about the opposite of deep work. And again, Newport has an interesting definition for what he calls shallow work, the alternative. Shallow work is the, quote, non-cognitively demanding, a logistical style tasks often performed while distracted. These efforts tend to not create new value in the world and are easy to replicate. Okay, so we're kind of seeing the two different things here. One is truly cognitively deep work and the other, not so much. Here's the thing. If you want to be an executive, if you want to set strategy that takes your business to new heights, to innovate, to ideate and solve big problems, or simply to think outside the box and stand out from your peers, you need to be able to perform at this cognitively demanding level, because that's where the great and extraordinary insights come from. And here's the kicker. Here's why it's so hard. According to a University of California Irvine study, it takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to get back to a task when you're interrupted. Yes, you heard that right. 23 precious minutes every time you get distracted. 23. Consider what happens every time your phone beeps or vibrates, every time the phone rings, every time you get a notification pop on your screen with a little ding sound, or without, maybe it's just the notification. Every time you see that little number 1 or higher on your email or Slack icon. It's why my dog disappears. Every time you get a notification from any of the 100 tabs you have open. In fact, just seeing those 100 tabs. And every time you click to one of those 100 tabs because, I just need to do this one quick thing. Each and every one of those is a distraction, and I bet you get dozens of those an hour, right? This is where it becomes terrifying. I've had video calls with people, even people I'm coaching, where the person on the other end has a ding sound every minute or so. And even when it's just once or twice in an hour, I can see their eyes move, glaze over briefly, and then refocus. And if you thought that the amount of time you spend on email, which is typically a third of our office hours, was bad, this is going to make you feel even worse. The distraction itself isn't the problem, right? That is momentary. It's that 23 precious minutes that it takes to refocus. During those 23 minutes, you are struggling to refocus and provide that true deep work attention to the job at hand. That's 23 minutes when you don't really get a huge amount done. In fact, the reason we then tend to move on to simple logistical tasks is because we feel like we're not getting anything done because it's hard to think deeply in that state. If you get distracted 3 times a day, just 3 times a day with a ding, 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 you're losing an hour of work. But honestly, most of us get distracted at least 3 times an hour. That means you are never entering true deep work mode. And this is one of the most common traps we all face as we climb the career ladder, and why I'm spending so much time telling you how important it is. Early on, you can get the work done. You have the skills needed. You have fewer distractions. You have fewer responsibilities and fewer people demanding stuff of you. Plus, it's less intense work than what you're currently doing. You have far more pieces to the puzzle today than you did early on in your careers. Few people demanding things from you. If we allow this attitude to continue as we progress and our responsibilities grow, we all reach a point where we feel like we're just spinning plates, responding to emails, attending meetings, and not really getting a lot else done. And we end up in that reactive mode I've been talking about for the last 2 days. Sure, the document you're working on is open, but what did you actually do with it? And at the end, you rush finishing it, and you know it's not the best work you could do. So here is my homework and my challenge for you today. I want you to make time in your calendar for deep work. Yes, this will be hard for many reasons. We've talked about this with strategy. I struggle to do deep work on my first day back after vacation, so you're going to struggle. It's a muscle that needs to be trained, but not making time for this, which is part of your strategy time, will ultimately limit the progress of your career. Be prepared to put time in your calendar. Maybe it's for strategy, maybe it's for something else, but it's deep work. Turn off all notifications and then get ready to feel your brain resisting this new pattern of work. You need to build this muscle. You need to train yourself. So set yourself a timer for 15 minutes if you've never done this before. And for 15 minutes, keep pulling your brain back to the task at hand. Believe me, your career will thank me later.